Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Where are you guys watching from? Let me know in chat, and I'll go ahead and get this going here real quickly. Didn't want to hop on here too late in the morning. Got some stuff going on later tonight between the NFL draft and also overall personal stuff I got to take care of. So, hopping on this morning to cover the severe weather risk here coming up for Saturday. So, what's up? Hannah from Owasso, Summer at work, Tom, South Warren, Flint, Autumn, Tanya, what's up, everybody? Olivia, welcome to the chat. So, SPC has went ahead and put parts of Michigan in a severe weather risk here for Saturday. Highest in yellow areas, lower risk in dark green areas. Pretty much the entire state, unless you live in far east and far southeast Michigan. So, like Detroit, Port Huron, Ann Arbor, Adrian, Monroe, you guys are not in that risk, but anywhere else basically in the state is. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into a few things here. So, the highest risk right now is going to be centered across northern, lower, and just very far southern parts of the UP of Michigan here. So, zooming on some of these risks here so you guys can get a better idea of localized areas here. The entire UP, except the very far eastern tip by Sault Ste. Marie, is in that marginal risk. But you guys are so close. Just go ahead and say, just be on alert either way. You are within 25 miles of that marginal dark green areas. So far east UP, basically just go ahead and say you're going to be in that risk. Okay. Entire UP is in the risk. Northern lower is where it's going to be centered from. Places like Petoskey, Mayo, Roscommon, Cadillac, Gladwin, Big Rapids, Pentwater, Ludington, Manistee, Traverse City, Gaylord, those areas, highest threat. Okay. Further to the south, further to the east, though, Flint in the threat, Lansing in the threat, Kalamazoo, Three Rivers, all in those threats, all up toward Grand Rapids, Ionia, Alma, Hastings, those particular areas. But if you are east in that light green color from Detroit, Ann Arbor, Port Huron, Monroe, Adrian, you guys are out of that threat. Coldwater and Jackson, you are extremely close to that. Go ahead and just be on alert either way. But right now, you technically are not in that risk, but you are so close to that borderline. So just wanted to mention that as well. So, what exactly are we looking at? Okay, we've been tracking this active pattern here for a couple of days. We've been mentioning it back, was it Saturday or Sunday? Watching a couple low pressure systems out to our west here. They're going to dive up and turn northward, bringing a warm front into the area, which is going to bring warm, moist air from the south up into Michigan. Let's go ahead and run this through here. Looking at today, another cooler type of day, but this is the last cooler day to deal with. After today, we're looking at an extended period of 70-degree weather, high 60s, and the lows are going to be in the 50s. So we're not going to be near freezing probably for the rest of the until we get toward fall and winter of 2024 2025 areas. So I think this is the last of the cold weather. Okay, with that being said, though, we're going to run this through tonight, last cold night, and then we see this low pressure system off to the west here in the plains moving in toward Iowa area. That's going to draw that warm front to the north on Saturday, and also watch temperatures here 60s. Boom, we are going to be in the mid 70s, likely going to touch 80 during the day on Saturday here for parts of Michigan, but expect mid to high 70s widespread, isolated higher, closer to 70, probably going to happen. Okay. But with that warm air is going to be moist air. When that couples, we get storm fuel. Okay. With that warm front, low pressure, cold front, we call it low pressure system, triple point. Sometimes there's going to trigger some of these storms to go off here across the region. All right, so that low pressure dives off to the north. That's what's going to trigger those storms. And with that being said, temperature 75, 80, dew points, moisture going to be right around the mid 60s, upper 60s, potentially, right around low to mid 60s is what we're kind of expecting with this. So the compilation of that is going to cause instability to go up. Instability is what fuels storms. We're going to see that overlapped here on this model here. We have a good amount in the entire state. I want to highlight the entire state here as having a decent environment for severe weather. But there's only a certain area we're kind of watching closely because of two things. Okay. Number one, we don't have a very strong force of lift, so to speak, to get these storms up and going. It looks to be kind of weak, especially further south and further east, which is also why you don't see southeast parts of Michigan in that severe risk. the forcing to get these storms up and going in those areas is low, and there's going to be a cap in place. So when that cap is in place, we have a weaker type of lift. We're not quite sure if that's going to break the cap, which is why you're not seeing that risk get extended further south and east. Okay. If we have more confidence, or should I say, if the SPC has more confidence, we don't issue these outlooks, but I'm saying if we have more model confidence that this cap is either going to either A, weaken, or B, we have more lift to get up and through that cap, we may see an extension of this risk further to the east. Okay. So this is going to shift. The next outlook comes out at 2 in the morning. So we'll have an update for you guys tomorrow morning. But right now, the risk area looks good. The entire state has a decent environment, but it's just going to be a matter of where we can break that cap. Right now, it appears most likely up north and west, where you see this yellow slight risk in place. Okay. But when we have this instability in the entire state, though, it definitely bears watching. If we get a force of lift to break that cap further east, we're going to have a potential for some storms that could be strong to severe further south and east. All right. With that being said, we do have a couple other things to go over here, like our wind shear. We do have a good amount of wind shear going to be in place here for Saturday. This is going to be right around the 40 to 50 knot range in the area of the updraft, we call it 0 to 6 kilometer, 500 millibar. Good shear there for organization. Overall, though, we go to the lowest levels. Look at our low-level wind speeds. It's going to be quite a interesting day because we do have some low-level wind speeds there as well. So coupling that all together, overlap it with instability, wind shear, we're going to get a supercell composite here to get an idea of where the best environment is going to be. Pretty much the entire state of Michigan. Okay. Like I said before, though, it's going to matter where that cap is going to break, because even though this environment down here further south and east does look good, it's going to be a big question if that cap is going to break. Because if it doesn't break, we're not going to have storms, or we're going to have storms that are going to be a lot weaker than what they could be. If that makes sense. So right now, best environment still is off to where that slight risk is going to be. That marginal risk is in place, I believe, to pretty good areas as well, where the placement of the risk areas are. But it's going to come down to how strong that cap is and if we can break it. All right. So if that clears everything up, we're going to go ahead and overlay what we're thinking right now in terms of risks within the slight risk area. So if you're in the yellow risk area, this applies to you. If you're in the green, it does not apply. But right now, based off the SPC guidance, here is your risks that we're looking at for Saturday. Main risk is going to be hail. Wind is going to be a secondary risk. There's going to be a risk there for tornadoes as well. Like, again, this is going to be highly dependent on if we can get the storms to become surface-based, break through that cap, and get rooted in the surface to tap into that instability on the surface. If that doesn't happen, we're going to be looking at mainly a hail and also a downburst wind threat. Okay, so right now the confidence is higher in the hail threat, which is why you see 4 bars, a level 4 risk there, or not level 4, but like a 4, a slight risk is what it is. We're putting 4 bars on there to correlate, so it's the highest risk. Wind is going to be your secondary risk, and then tornado and flooding is going to be your third and fourth risks there. So hope that clears everything up for you guys. We'll do those again here tomorrow as we get more confidence, but right now the highest confidence still remains in that yellow risk area. I'll turn to the comment section now for some questions if you guys have any. I would ask you guys would hold off asking if your place is in the threat. I mean, we have a map here. I'm just going to tell you, look at the map here. If you guys don't know how to read a map, would suggest you guys highly learn how to do that. But if you don't know how to read a map, let me know and I will help you. Okay? No problem. Anita? Thanks, Diane. I am feeling a bit better today. Well, the pain is a little bit higher today for some reason. I was okay last night, but the pain started creeping back up. So I'm going to take it easy, which is also why I'm hopping on here early, because it usually progresses through the day. So I'm on here early, getting it out of the way. They'll do one tomorrow as well. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all. Hello from Ontario. What's up, monkey face? Our neighbor to the east checking in. What's up, Chris? Chris Tobias, our partner chaser, is going out west. He's going to be chasing the risks out in the plains and potentially parts of the Great Lakes region as well. So if you guys want to follow along, he's going out with another partner chaser, Chris Mundy, I believe his name is. And then they're going to be going off to the west to chase the higher risks for severe weather, including tornadoes out in the plains and also the Great Lakes coming up here next couple of days. So if you guys want to follow along, head on over to Chris Tobias Storm Chasing on his page. It's on your screen there, so you guys know what it looks like. We may be live with him on our secondary page, Great Lakes Storm Chasing Network, for out-of-state chasing. Well, depends on how it all plays out. But back to this risk for Michigan for Saturday here. What is your opinion on Oklahoma on Saturday? Just wondering. I think Saturday has a lot of potential. I honestly started to like tomorrow better for overall tornadoes out there. I would not be shocked to see a moderate-driven tornado risk out there. Wouldn't be shocked at all. Do not know where Albion is, kind of by Lansing, but not really. So let's go ahead and do this real quick for you there, Brian. I'm going to get the exact place here so I know. I'm pretty sure Albion's south of Lansing there, more so towards 94, but I want to make sure here really quickly. I'm pretty sure I drive through there all the time. So Albion is going to be right here between Jackson and Battle Creek, which if we zoom in on the map here, we're going to see Jackson right here, where I'm circling the mouse. Battle Creek is over here. You're going to be right about here, just north of Coldwater here. All right, so you're going to be in the marginal risk, okay? So technically, yes, you are in the risk. So find yourself on a map. You're going to be between Jackson to the west over here, to the left of Jackson, just to above Coldwater, right about there. Do you have any idea what time the storms will enter the state? Yes, late afternoon, early evening through the evening. What does yellow mean? I just joined. The yellow is a level 2 out of 5 risk, okay? We actually have these saved in here now. So here is your overlaying of the SPC category of the risks here. Level 1 is a marginal dark green. Level 2 is slight, which is what we have in place for northern lower Michigan here. That just means scattered severe storms are possible. Some may be intense, but they're overall going to be a little bit more so short-lived, not expected to be too widespread. So what it means basically is not everybody's going to see a severe storm, but the potential is definitely there. Allegan is a mix of green and yellow, or is it all green? Allegan is green. So level 1 risk. Yep, go give Chris Tobias a follow as well. We have a bunch of partner chasers, not just Chris. Can't forget the other partner chasers. We got Drew, we got Ben, we got, I believe we have, does Chris have his own page? Chris, we have a lot of Chris's. There's another one. We have a couple of other people with pages. We'll have to do a shout out to our partner chasers here again. But it's hard to keep track. We have like 15 or 20 of them, so it's hard to keep track who all has pages. Timing of storms, again, late afternoon, early evening through the evening. It's going to be interesting to see when that cap is going to break, if it breaks at all. Okay, that's going to be the main risk. So that cap could hold off. It throws a wrench in timing as well, but expect storms to go up late afternoon, early evening. Saginaw is in a marginal level 1 risk. Again, watch for them through the later evening hours for you guys up there. Thank you, Cindy. Could the risk get more widespread on Michigan? I think there's a chance, but again, only if that cap looks to either A, weaken, or B, we have enough lift to get through that cap. Right now, there's uncertainty with that, which is also why you see that risk getting cut off. Even though the environment does support severe weather in southeast Michigan, should I say, that cap is not expected to break down there, which is why you're not seeing that risk. So if that cap can break, we have more confidence in that happening, we're going to see we're going to probably see a risk get introduced there. But again, it's going to be dependent on the future models here. What causes a cap? Thank you, Ricky. That is caused by warm air in the upper levels that basically act as a lid on the atmosphere. I just want to see a good thunderstorm. I do too, Olivia. I do too. Could this be upgraded to an enhanced risk? I don't think so. If we have more confidence in that cap, breaking potentially further north and further west, potentially Wisconsin, maybe. It may brush parts of Michigan, but I don't see an enhanced risk, at least for right now. Ask me again tonight. I may think differently, but for right now, I think it's good at the slight risk. But again, I don't make those. It's just my opinion. Yes, Holly and Flint is in the marginal level 1 risk. Cody Reynolds. That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Storm Chaser, Cody Reynolds. This is our partner chasers, guys. We have Drew Brummel. We got Cody Reynolds, Chris Tobias. We have Ben at Great Lakes Weather. Those are the pages of our partner chasers. We do have more partner chasers, just not, they don't have pages to my knowledge. If they do, I'll have to get with those and get them advertised here on the page. But go ahead and follow those guys. You have time to screenshot that and go search for them on Facebook. They would appreciate your follow. So the dark green really isn't too bad, potential, but not bad. Sarah, that's a good way to look at it. It basically just means that we're going to have potential for severe storms, but they're not going to be widespread. So not everybody's going to see them. And every storm that happens is not going to be severe. The potential is there, but not everybody and not every storm is going to be severe. Can't wait for the warm weather this weekend. Yeah, Drew, it's here to stay too. I don't see any cooler weather on the horizon. This is going to be the last night of near freezing temperatures. Then we're going to be right back into the 70s for highs and 50s for lows. We are going to enter spring and probably into summer here pretty quickly into May. What happens if the cap doesn't break and the cap is here for the whole state? So what that means, summer, two things. Either one, storms don't go up at all, or two, storms can go up, but they're not going to be surface-based. And what surface-based means is the instability on the surface when the updraft is there, it needs to kind of suck up that instability. But with that cap in place, that updraft can't suck on the surface, so to speak. So what that means is basically it turns into a hail threat. When the updraft can suck up instability from the surface, at that point, we'd be concerned for tornadoes and damaging winds, if that makes sense. Are these the same storms coming from the south? We don't have any storms to our south. We mean towards your west area? Yes, same system, although it's a different day. So technically not the exact same storms. So we don't know what's going to happen. But it's the same system that's going to cause weather out there today and tomorrow. And then we're going to be looking at the low pressure moving off to the north. Also want to highlight this as well for those of you watching. Sunday is another day to watch. And I say that because the latest model guidance here does have a decent environment showing here in Michigan on Sunday as well. There's no risk currently for Sunday, but watch Sunday as well. Overall environment is interesting. Not too concerning, but it does bear some watching. Could see another low-end risk getting introduced there for Sunday at the latest outlook, which does come out at 2 a.m., by the way. So we're not going to have an update on this until tomorrow morning for you guys, unless you guys are up late. No problem, Sarah. Sisters coming up this weekend. We'll be watching it from the Empire area. We get a lot of straight line winds up here. Make sure your outside stuff is secured. Yes, great idea, Trace. Is it Trace or is it Tracy? I don't want to get that wrong. Do you think power outages will happen? It's a possibility. If storms can be surface-based, produce damaging winds, then yes, I'd say it's a possibility. Shouldn't be too widespread. This isn't going to be like a windstorm line of squall line stuff, type of stuff. Not expecting that with this. So it shouldn't be too widespread. Gaylord is in currently the highest risk area, level 2 out of 5. Yes, you are centered within that slight risk area there in yellow. Daughter has prom this Saturday. Will she have good weather? The start of Saturday will be okay, Michael. Later on in the evening, watch for some storm potential, but again, it's going to be dependent on if that cap can break. If you're far enough east right now, just be more so concerned for some just regular thunderstorms, but that could change. So those of you ask, I see a couple questions on here. If this is going to be upgraded, if it's going to shift. Shifting is likely. Yes, we're likely going to see this shift back and forth. We have 2 more days until we get to Saturday. So this is going to shift. So this isn't going to be finalized. It's just what we're seeing right now from the SPC. Upgrade to this? I don't think so. Ask me again in 12, 24 hours. I might say yes. But right now, I don't think so. Howell, you are borderline on this risk. I would say it's just off to your, I want to say just off to your north, but I think you're basically right on the line there. Thomas, I do not, although I can tell you that there is a little bit of a Michigan tornado alley from just about south of Flint near the Perry area all the way over towards the Grand Rapids area. In that corridor there, just north of 96, there seems to be a little bit of a tornado alley here in Michigan that happens there. So found Chris now following. Thank you, Kim. I'm sure he appreciates that. Carson City area, you're going to be in the risk, yes. When do we start seeing our tacos in Michigan? What do you mean, Kendall? What do you mean? How many inches of rain Saturday? Let's go ahead and take a peek. Because why not? I'm going to go ahead and say probably about ½ inch to an inch, depending on your area, localized higher in thunderstorms. There you go. Through Sunday morning there, looks like we have a widespread ½ inch or so of rain with isolated higher amounts closer to an inch. And if you get into thunderstorms, definitely pay attention to localized flooding. It is a risk. But we do have a couple areas up there in a drought right now, so that's much needed rain. Is Holland in yellow? Holland would be in green, I think. You're close, but I think you're in green. Yeah, you're fine. You're going to be in green there. Possibly, Phoebe. Possibly. Do all storms have a 25-mile radius from the yellow to green? Technically speaking, I don't see it listed on here. I know for... I'm going to say yes. This is because when you look at the actual hazard maps and stuff like that, it tells you in like a little bottom corner that this risk is for like a 5% within a 25-mile radius. So technically speaking, if you're within 25 miles of the risk area, you technically still are in the risk. If that makes sense. So yes, technically, Heather. But storms, what do you mean by storms there? If you talk about the risk areas, yes, 25-mile radius, but storms, warning, stuff like that, no. So much activity this year already, even in our town of Colon, which typically don't see much due to somewhat being in a valley. Yeah, we've had quite a bit of storms this early season, but we've expected that actually. We actually have a post up and a video up on our Facebook and YouTube explaining what we thought to be an active spring, and so far it has came to fruition pretty much to a T. So my weather app says storms are likely with a few storms potentially severe. Most of you guys' apps will say that. That's not uncommon at all. Yes, it is much easier to watch us on YouTube. On Facebook, if you're watching the streams and you gotta hop off and you gotta, go reply to somebody's message or you want to scroll your Facebook feed, it X's the stream out. But if you're on YouTube, you can keep it running in the background to watch us there on YouTube as well. And you can kind of scroll whatever you want to go scroll through. So it definitely helps to hop on YouTube if you guys do have the app. It's much easier to watch over there. Are we going to be chasing it all? Of course we're going to be chasing, Ricky. We're Michigan Storm Chasers. We get that question so much. You guys chasing? Yeah, of course we're chasing. That's what we live for. Time frame on storms, again, late afternoon, early evening, probably through the evening as well. Could be later on as well, especially if the cap holds. Caps tend to weaken and break later on towards sunset because the warm air starts dying off there. Warm air is basically that cap. So once we have a little bit cooler air mixing in, we get that cap to break sometimes. That happens towards sunset and after sunset a lot of times. So it could be a little bit later on the evening type of event here too. But right now we do have storm potential as early as late afternoon. How is the activity going to be in the summer? Active. Warm and wet is what we're expecting. But we're watching what we call the Enzo phase closely, the El Nino, La Nina phases, technically speaking. Basically, when we're between the El Nino and La Nina phase in the middle, that's when we have the active pattern. That's what we're in right now. So once that dives down, where it's expected to go to a La Nina, further down to a colder solution in the sea temperatures by the by the equator. Once that happens, we're going to have a more of a slowdown, in our opinion. But when we're going to see that, probably going to be midsummer. I did not see that, Martin. I have not been on Twitter today, or not lately, should I say? I was on there this morning, but all right. So with that being said, I'm gonna hop off here. We'll go live again probably sometime tomorrow. I'm not sure it'll be morning or evening. It depends on how I feel with my tooth and everything. But overall, we'll go live at some point tomorrow to discuss this. But overall, just pay attention. This is going to likely shift. We could see some adjustments here, even further to the east and further south. I don't think we'll upgrade to an enhanced, but we'll see what the SPC does. With that being said, pay attention to Saturday and also a closer eye on Saturday, but also an eye on Sunday as well. Potential resurgence of a potential low end risk there for severe. No risk in place yet, but we're watching it close. And I'm sure the SPC is as well. So, with that being said, you guys stay safe. Enjoy the last cool day of weather before we surge back into the 70s, potentially reaching 80 a couple of these days upcoming here. So, you guys stay safe and enjoy your day.